Hi everyone, this is a short video today, but I've been reading the algorithm recently and got really excited about the implications of the findings in this book on the recruiting space, and especially some of the kind of more questionable topics, essentially trying to understand how different companies are potentially using AI in order to better screen people and the potential bias that that's going to implement. So today I decided to do a quick walkthrough of how I think some of the AI tools are potentially working. This is by no means any inside information. This is just me trying to figure things out based on what I can find online. And using some very basic knowledge that I have on just engaging with GPTs and doing some pretty basic machine learning and automation. So I'm hoping you find this helpful, really just to try and expand on the types of work that may be happening in the near future, really to educate HR and talent leaders on the impact of these kind of tools on the hiring plan. And so let's jump into it. So I'm going to talk today about the tool that's mentioned in this book that we're going to dive into today is Humantic AI. Now, if you go onto their website, you can see that they kind of talk about how they can potentially look at different social profiles for individuals. I think their primary use case is in sales, so looking at buyer intent to try and help you create a more personalized outreach to that individual. But there is a recruiting use case, and that's the one that's covered in this book. So I'm going to dig into that. I'm just going to follow this very, very simple process that I built out to show you how this may potentially work. And this may crash. If so, it's a little buggy. I can just kind of keep resetting it. For some reason, the formatting is a bit of an issue. But how does this work? So the steps that I've really tried to figure out is kind of 6 steps overall. So step 1 is uploading your resume. Now, in the case of actually using a tool like this, what they'll probably do is have a name of a candidate from a long search of probably LinkedIn profiles. But for this example, what I'm going to do is start by uploading my resume. And I decided to start with my LinkedIn profile. So I downloaded the PDF of my LinkedIn profile, and I'm going to upload it to this little app that I put together over the last couple of hours to show you how this would work. What the resume then does is it extracts information and it runs searches online. So it's really going to focus on social media presence. I've had to build all this up from the ground up, so it's pretty agricultural, but it uses the Google search interface. So essentially, what you can do is send your search parameters to Google, and that will give you the results back, and that's what we're going to use here. Then what's going to happen is all of this information kind of gets aggregated together and analyzed, and then using that information, what these tools are trying to do is figure out what is your personality, and there's kind of 2 main frameworks that they potentially look at. If you're familiar with these or not, you can Google and learn more about these. But there's the DISC framework and the OCEAN framework that we're going to look at. From these frameworks, essentially what the tool is then trying to do is generate some insights to help understand who are you as a person. Will you be a good kind of cultural fit, even though we hate using that phrase, with the organization? What is your personality type? And really what it's trying to do is understand who you are without having to interview you and without having to give you a personality test. So it's potentially very interesting, but with the limitations of AI, there's also some questions around how effective this could be and whether this is going to impart bias in the process. And the last thing we're going to do in this step is create a profile that could then be fed to a hiring manager who would then look through this candidate's profile to help drive a hiring decision. So they're the steps we're going to go through. We're going to go through it pretty quickly, but I just wanted to give you that quick outline. So let's upload the resume. I'm going to do this in real time, so it may break, but that works very quickly, actually. So this is our second step, and this is a 3-step process that we're actually implementing here. So what we've done is pass the resume. So all I did was take that resume, sent it to OpenAI's API, and that's going to give me back this information. So just formatted it a little bit. It does have my personal email address on that resume, so I've omitted that. I've actually just I just put that in the prompt engineering section of my coding. And then the organizations that I've worked for. So this is an old profile. The new name is actually Meander, but this makes sense. It's actually, these are the organizations. And this is helpful because the way you probably want to search is Chris Mannion, Wayfair, Facebook, Chris Mannion, Wayfair, LinkedIn. And this is the search that we're we're actually doing, and we've automated that search process. So very quickly, what this tool is doing is going to Google and searching, so you can see all the results that are going to come up. So different kind of things that I've posted, that other people have posted, some irrelevant things, which, we're not spending too much time perfecting this, but mostly just LinkedIn posts. Now, what I would do if I was building this out as a full platform is probably then take an additional stage. And for each of these web pages, I would kind of click through, extract all the information I can, try and understand from that content what was written by me or what was potentially written about me by another person, and then kind of save that as a data point that then we'll come to analyze later. What I actually did in this case is because there's some kind of questions around, is it violating usage agreements to actually scrape different websites, especially LinkedIn? The answer is yes, it is generally. So we're not going to do that here. Instead, all we're going to do is take these snippets, join them together and see what we can learn by doing that. So we've passed the resume, we've done our online search, and we've gathered information, essentially just the snippets that you would see in your Google search results. And now we're going to join all those together and create a personality profile. So hopefully this works first time. Okay, so we've got our results back. There were a couple of errors there. I actually put a bug in my code, so I fixed that and cut out the time there, so you're not going to see that. But let's go through the personality profile. So there's 3 sections here. There's an analysis, then there's a kind of narrative, and then there's a kind of recommendation. So firstly, the analysis. Let's use the DiscOcean frameworks. So what it's going to do is give some feedback based on what it's seen in the snippets on dominance, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness. So driven and assertive because I've had leadership roles, maybe sociable and people-oriented because I'm engaging with a diverse community, maybe steady or cautious approach because I'm more focused on growth, innovation, and finding effective solutions quickly. Maybe conscientiousness. Okay, I'm focused on best practices, blah, blah, blah. So, maybe you could say that is a fair assessment based on what's available online. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's actually my personality. It's just kind of what's communicated online. Again, we can look through the Ocean personality framework as well. I'm not going to go into too much detail there. But the narrative, I think, is quite interesting because then it starts to tie this together. And we know that as humans, what we really value is stories. And this is actually where a lot of bias can potentially creep in, because you can take these data points and say, okay, based on what I've seen online, this person has displayed evidence of X, Y, and Z. But then when you kind of group it together into a narrative, this could actually be used to persuade people one way or the other based on this kind of very limited data set, which is what you've been able to find online. And we all know that the challenge with the GPT models is that they can be very kind of fixated on the limited data they have and actually sound more confident than what they potentially are. So this is giving this narrative. I'll go through it, but this is the final profile that we really care about. And this is assuming that you're going to automate the recruiting process. This could be what goes to the hiring manager and is then used to make a decision as to whether you want to interview this person. So I'm a dynamic and engaging individual, strong dominance and influence, minimal emphasis on steadiness. Okay, maybe fair, probably not. Personality traits within this framework. Okay, so this is summarizing everything. I'm pretty glad to see I'm a composed and focused demeanor, not too neurotic. So key strengths, professional approach. Overall, I combine assertiveness, openness, conscientiousness, and extroversion to drive success in TA through innovation and strategic advancement within the HR landscape. That's actually a really nice summary. I don't know if I completely agree with it, but you could see how this could potentially sway a hiring manager's approach, either to take a first screening call with someone, or potentially, in the final stages, if this becomes part of the assessment criteria, this could be weighted more heavily than the data that you actually gather through very kind of structured interview processes. So it's kind of really just a warning that these tools are available. They can be helpful. Say probably more at the top of funnel if you're trying to kind of narrow down a large group of potential candidates to just the ones that show potential to talk to. This could be like a more effective way to filter than just filtering on, other bias driven metrics like what school they went to or their GPA or, current company or something like that. But it also comes with another warning in that this is all based on social media presence. And so there are some individuals who will have almost no social media presence, in which case this tool may just hallucinate and make things up, and it's giving you no information, but you can see how confident this tool is in its potential to drive results. Or it could be that an individual has a completely separate kind of personal and professional life, and so you're getting all of these insights into this person's personal life that they're putting out on social media, that actually don't reflect at all on their ability to do their job. And if you're making an assessment based on that, and using AI to shortcut that process, that could really potentially cause you problems, not just from a kind of an ethical and a regulatory standpoint, but you could potentially miss out on hiring some great candidates. So that's my wrap up here. I'm going to do some more videos related to this topic. If you want to see something in particular, please drop it in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe if you really like this content, because I'm going to produce a lot more of it. And if you like this as well, there'll be other videos kind of poked up in the corner of the screen. So that's all for today. Take care.